Welcome to Catholic Ed for All, your weekly insight into topics of special education in Catholic schools. My name is Dr. Raul Escarpio, and I invite you to join me each week as we learn how to be more inclusive in Catholic schools and continue to live out St. John Paul II's message of open wide the doors to Christ. Many thanks go out to RCL Benziger, who is generously sponsoring this podcast. RCL Benziger enriches the worldwide Catholic community by providing the most engaging and highest quality resources, programs, and services rooted in the rich and diverse tradition of the Catholic faith. And now, on to our show. On the show today, I am joined by Dr. Megan Burton, Director of Special Education for Cathedral Catholic High School in San Diego, California. Why, hello, Megan. Welcome to the show and thanks for being here.
Hi, Raul. Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad you could be here. Megan, can you please tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So currently, like you said, I'm the Director of Special Education at Cathedral Catholic High School in San Diego. I was hired here about 6 years ago to create what is our inclusive education program known as the Options Program. Prior to that, I taught special ed in Encinitas, California, and also back east in New York, where I'm from. Moved out here. My husband was in the military. Decided to pursue an admin degree up at USC and wanted to have a challenge and found my challenge here at Cathedral creating our inclusive education program.
Go Trojans, right?
Yes, exactly.
Wow, from the East Coast to the West Coast, that must have taken some adjusting.
It definitely does. But when I go back for Christmas and it's -9 degrees, I'm feeling more than blessed to be in San Diego on a 67-degree Wednesday.
Right. I have been talking to some people up north recently with the podcast, and I said it is a frigid 66 degrees in Florida, Miami. And they laugh at me and like have no sympathy for me whatsoever.
Exactly.
All right. So what'd you teach? What grades? What environments did you teach?
Sure. Well, when I taught back in New York about 15 years ago, I taught one of the first renditions of a co-taught sixth grade classroom. So I was the special education teacher pushing into English and science classes at the time. When I came out here, I taught in a private school in Encinitas. It was third, fourth, and fifth in a 15-to-2 ratio, which was also had a lot of perks to that. So I was able to kind of pull best practices from the private side of things and the public side of things and use those as we move forward here at Cathedral.
I think we share the same thing because I was able to pilot the inclusion program at a school where I worked at, and it was very good. It was a great experience. So I hear you there. I hear you. So
It's exciting.
isn't it? I mean, with all its pitfalls too, because you learn very quickly what you can do and what you can't do. So
Absolutely.
all right. So what does the director of SPED do at Cathedral Catholic? Tell me a little bit about that.
So we're very blessed here at Cathedral to have a 3-tiered special education program. So as director, I oversee our faculty. We have about 7 teachers that work within our special education program and a couple staff members. And I'm able to help guide them to have students access our curriculum no matter what level they enter Cathedral at. And I really get to get my hands in everything, which is something I enjoy doing. So it's a fun job, that's for sure.
So you're a practitioner at heart.
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
So tell me about that inclusive population you have at your school.
Yeah, so like I said, we have 3 different tiers of special education. We have about 220 students who have either an IEP or a private psychoeducational evaluation. About 200 of those approximately are in our Learning Center program, and that's students who are earning the typical Cathedral Catholic diploma, just need some accommodations. They take a resource class with one of our special education teachers and are able to even the playing field in that manner. 5 years ago, we created our Options Program, which is our inclusive education program. Currently, we have 9 students in that program who are on a non-diploma bound path to earn a certificate of completion. These students attend all typical classes with peer mentors. They also receive individualized instruction back in our Options Center, where they address reading, writing, and math at their own individualized level. After we created that program, we realized that we still had a hole, this gap missing, where we weren't fully allowing all students to access our Cathedral Catholic education. And so we created a program called the Academy. And this Academy program sits kind of in between our Learning Center and our Options program. The Academy program is a co-taught program based on California state standards for graduation. So these students are in a 12-to-2 ratio for the core subjects of math, English, social science, and science. We use a case manager, a special ed teacher, as well as our general education teachers to teach those classes. Those students then push out to elective classes as well as religion with the support of peer mentors as necessary. So we've really taken inclusion, I feel, biasedly, to a whole new level in terms of Catholic education. We could not have done so without the support of our diocese, nor our president, Steve LaPerry. So it's really been a blessing to have meetings with 8th grade families who aren't sure if Cathedral Catholic is the right fit for their student, and to say, well, let's just figure out which program is the right fit for them within Cathedral.
So let's unpack that, because my mouth is like a gaping wide open expression on my face right now. Did you say 200 something students?
220 students, that is correct. We carry about 85 with the district. So we keep all their IEPs, which, as you know, become ISPs when they're
Right.
at private school. So it's all current. And then the other students qualify through a private psychoeducational evaluation, or psych ed's done through their doctors, et cetera. So we really try to make Cathedral Catholic accessible to all students who learn differently.
And what is your total population in that school?
We've got about 1,700.
Geez, Louise, that's a big school.
Yeah.
You might have the crown right now of the biggest inclusion program that I've ever heard of. And I'm hoping that a lot of people listen to the podcast so they can say, that's not true, Raul. Hold on. Let me tell you about our program. So are you aware? Do you think that you have the largest program, at least in the West Coast, that you know about?
That I know about, for sure. And, as we were creating the Options program and the Academy program, and as I work with President LaPerry, and, we're constantly trying to network and collaborate. And, part of our mission is to host people who want to start inclusion programs. We're constantly, serving as kind of, like you mentioned earlier, the pilot program, so that people can come and see, it's not that difficult a feat to undertake once you see it in action and see the beauty of it and how it benefits all 1,700 students. We invite them to our campus and we say, look, and then, they kind of get that twinkle in their eye and like, okay, we can do this. So I know we're one of the biggest inclusion populations on the West Coast, because we get a ton of visitors who are looking, to do the same thing, which is great.
Amen. Okay, so let's go slow. For those that walk in, unpack each program for me. Not
Sure.
briefly, and tell me who would meet. What kind of students do you have in each, and the teachers that you have in that program? Because at the same time, we have a lot of leaders and principals and that listen to it and can get ideas at the same time. So just walk me through the
Absolutely. Perfect. So our Learning Center program is, again, students qualify with a psychoeducational evaluation and a resulting diagnosis. These students need accommodations only to access our typical Cathedral Catholic diploma curriculum. So you're looking at kiddos, they could be on the spectrum, they could have a learning disability,
Right.
They could have ADHD, they could have anxiety. And they are doing things like attending resource every other day. They are using our testing center. They're using extended time on tests. What's important to note about this level of support is no modifications to our curriculum are being made. So again, we're leveling that playing field for those kiddos to earn the same diploma, and I mean earn the same diploma.
So on that note, Megan, I'm sorry to interrupt you. The only thing that they are getting different, and I'm doing my air quotes impression right now, is that they are getting accommodations, which basically means maybe extra time to complete assignments. Is that correct?
Well, they don't even get extra time to complete assignments. We give them extra time on assessments. We give them support to complete their assignments. So we're still trying to function within, our goal is we're college preparatory school. So
Right.
what do your accommodations look like at college? And how can we model and create a bridge that's going to be realistic to the next level? Well, in college, they're not going to allow you extra time for assignments, but you
No.
could get extra time on your assessments. So that's what we want our students to start to practice here at the high school level in the comfort and nurturing environment that we have. So a lot of what we offer our learning center kiddos are what we see colleges offering to the same population of students.
And before you move on to the next model that you have, I want to talk to all those
Mhm.
college prep high schools out there, the ones that think that they can't have an inclusive environment because, well, we're getting kiddos, as you say, ready for college. Well, here's a perfect example of how you can meet the needs of learners in your school and still be a college prep program and not lose any of those intricacies or wonderful things that make it a college prep program. Correct, Megan?
Absolutely. And another thing that's important to note is our learning center population mirrors that of Cathedral. So we have students who are in our learning center classes that choose to be in our learning center classes that qualify, that are taking dual enrollment college courses. They're taking AP classes, but we often talk about balance and what it means to have a balanced life, have a balanced academic, palette. And so for some of our students who are extremely bright but might struggle with dyslexia, or extremely bright but might struggle with anxiety, we're teaching them that, you can take those hard classes, but let's offset it with some learning center resource support. So the life lesson that comes out of that is when we move on to college, we have a sense of who we are and what we need to be most successful.
And they are successful. I'm sure that they
Absolutely.
are. So let's move on to the next model that you have.
So our academy program, and that's the co-taught program I mentioned earlier. So we have a 12-to-2 ratio. This program is about 3 years old, and the students in that program usually come to us a grade or two, maybe even three behind. And so what we're looking to do with those students is in that 12-to-2 format for, again, those core classes, science, social science, math, and English, we're looking to get them through the California state standards for diplomacy. Now, that's going to look different in every state. For California, let's take math, for example, you need to earn through Algebra 1. Well, when we look at our academy students, are these students who we can teach Algebra 1 in 4 years? Or, do we need to, put our students in the options program? Are they better served in an options program where we can really address their third grade math level instead of their sixth grade math level? Again, these academy students range in terms of what their ability levels are. Their disabilities could be anything from learning disability, processing, autism, everything's kind of a spectrum, as we look at special education. But this type of student would need that 12-to-2 support in terms of accessing the curriculum to work through California state standards to earn diplomacy. The beauty of it is it's kind of a school within a school.
Right.
So that being said, I have a senior in the academy program who is so good at math that he's earned Algebra 1 his sophomore year. Well, awesome. You're not going to stop learning. You're going to go out and take Cathedral Geometry, and you're going to go take Cathedral Algebra 1. Meanwhile, we're teaching him the English class within the academy model because that's what he needs to best suit his learning style. So it's kind of a nestled program where we can still, push out based on interests into electives, push out based on strengths in core academic subjects, as long as we're earning those bare bone California state standards within the academy model. And that could be 4 years or it could be 2 years. So the beauty of that program, again, is that it's nestled within Cathedral. It's a school within a school. So the students can take the classes that they need with support and then take the ones they don't without it.
Beautiful. And this is what's called meeting the needs of each individualized learner, Megan. It just depends on the student. All right, so moving on quickly to the last model that you have.
So our options program, this program is about 6 years old, and this is the program I was originally hired to create. This is our non-diploma bound inclusive education program. There are a few of these over on the East Coast. When I was researching them, I went and visited South Carolina and DC and Virginia. But we take 4 students a year in this program. And again, these students are pushing into the typical, freshman classes, sophomore classes, junior classes, pushing in with their peers with the support of a peer mentor. The peer mentor serves as a liaison, kind of a TA for the general education teacher, and then the special education teacher who oversees the options program. These students that come to us are non-diploma bound. They could be intellectually disabled. They could have autism, Down syndrome. They're functioning at a much lower academic level than our academy population. So in addition to that push-in model where they're attending the typical classes, they also receive reading, writing, and math instruction back in our options center. We're very big on the fact that we are not just pushing students into classes to take up space. We do block scheduling. 85 minutes is a long time. So if our student needs to come back to the options center, they'll come back and we'll continue working on academics.
Fantastic. This is wonderful, wonderful information. So how have these programs added to the identity of Cathedral Catholic, especially to the student body? What has it done?
In my opinion, and I think the student body as well as the teachers would agree, that it has done wonders. I've mentioned the peer mentor program a couple of times, yes. And this is a program that students have to apply for. They have to get parent permission. They fill out an application. They have to get 2 teacher letter of recommendations. They interview with myself and the teacher for the options program. And Raul, we have kids that we have to turn away. And we have 120 mentors that work with our options and some of our academy students, and it's sought after. And just the fact that this is like the cool thing to do on campus is incredible. So, there's certain things and I've heard other people say this before, you can teach a lot out of a book. You can't teach tolerance. You can't teach respect. You can't teach patience, but you can certainly live it and learn it by living it. And that's what this program brings. And you can talk to several students on campus who aren't directly involved, and they will all be supportive of our options program, of our academy program. And the more that it becomes the norm, the more it will be the norm.
Amen. Amen. That's the way, and that's a true Catholic school education. So,
absolutely.
Speaking of Catholic, what should Catholic special education look like, Megan? Pie in the sky, unlimited resources. Although it seems that you guys are exemplifying it pretty nicely there. But what should Catholic special education look like?
I definitely like that we have a tiered approach, that we have multiple levels of support. Do we cover everything? No. Would I wish we could? Absolutely. So when you talk about, pie in the sky, I would love to have services. When parents choose to come to Cathedral, especially our options parents and some of our academy parents, they're foregoing their rights to public speech and public OT and PT. And so I'd love for, Catholic education to have services available to our students so they don't ever have to give something up to choose a Catholic education. Because although we've come so far and done so much, there's still so much more that we can do.
Fantastic. Megan, it has truly been my pleasure. I am beaming from the joy that I have, knowing that Cathedral Catholic is one of the leaders in the field of inclusive education. I look forward to the day that I can drop by and see this program in action. And until then, I wish you nothing but prayers and blessings as you continue your mission as the director of SPED at Cathedral Catholic. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, and thank you for allowing me to share with your audience.
Well, that's it for this week. If this podcast was a blessing to you, can you please head over to iTunes and subscribe and give us a review or a rating? It really does help other Catholic educators find the podcast and use it as a resource. Thanks again to the amazing people at RCL Benziger for generously sponsoring this podcast. Check out their new resource for Catholic schools, Blessed Are We, Faith in Action, which enables teachers to share the love of Christ with children who have special needs. Visit rclbenziger.com to learn more. Join me again next time as we continue to advance God's kingdom by including all of God's children in Catholic schools and faith formation. Until then, this is Dr. Raul Escarpio. Thanks for listening, and may God bless your day.